currently a uni student, and on Tuesday nights, I come home pretty late. Not late enough that my parents would call the police, but just missing the regular bus times. Anyway, as luck would have it, I managed to catch the very last bus one Tuesday night after getting to the station. And typically, it's nothing to be worried about. If you keep to yourself and stick to safe-looking people, other uni students, mothers, the bus driver, you'll be right. Growing up in a dangerous country and migrating to a much safer one hasn't rid me of those instincts. And that night, I got all bad vibes and buzzy. Something was off about the evening, and I didn't know what. We get to the main stop, the shopping center, and I find out that the bus has terminated its route. It's done for the night. Thanks, asshole bus driver. Well, fuck. It's dark, it's late, I can't drive. My parents can't pick me up, they're at yoga, and I'm too broke to afford a taxi. So, I decide to walk home. The exercise will be good for me. Now, from the shopping center, it would take me a good 20 to 30 minutes to reach my house if I power walked. I could probably run home, but fuck that. When you leave the shops, if you follow the road, there's a local Catholic school, a public library, a public school, and a few bus stops along the way. Near the library is a traffic intersection, the most brightly lit area of this entire road, but it's also a very small square. It's a joke, honestly. As I'm walking, it takes me less than a second to realize how fucking dark it was on that street. It was a bit creepy walking by the local Catholic school with their massive fucking crucifix in the middle of a huge mass of land. In front of me is the girl who looks about my age, Asian, and she's walking fairly quickly. Understandable. From the corner of my eye across the road, I see a man, kind of half jogging, half walking, and I'm not sure what he's up to, but it was just weird. I kept an eye on him and the girl. At the intersection, my friend is there, and he greets me enthusiastically, a hug and a kiss on the cheek. He momentarily distracts me from the weird running dude and the girl. Between my friend and I greeting each other, I completely miss when the guy crossed the street and is in my path. My friend turns out to be a douchebag friend and just leaves, even after I told him about the weird dude. I'm not far from the creep and the girl now, but he's talking to her. And if a guy has any common sense, he will not speak to a girl or a woman while she's alone at night. Because we've all heard the horror stories. By this stage, I've quickened my pace into a sprint, holding onto my backpack so that my laptop inside won't make so much noise, and I'm assessing my very limited options on how to save this poor woman. I'm a very small, very unintimidating Asian girl, and the guy looked taller the closer I got. I felt very tiny and incredibly stupid for doing this, because I was still kind of far, but I have crazy good eyesight, and the streetlights were hitting his face, so I could make it out accurately enough in case I needed to identify him. He was a white male, early 30s to 40s, brown hair, wearing glasses, a striped long-sleeve top, and brown khakis. His eyes were really big though, kind of like that face you make when someone surprises you with something particularly scandalous. And I come up with was probably the most stupidly brilliant plan I've ever concocted. I kind of stand there, hoodie on, feet apart, hands on my hips, and my best, loudest impersonation of an older Filipino woman getting mad at her child, the strongest accent I could. Honestly, if I were a bit taller, I might not have gotten away with this. Hoy, what are you doing, huh? You were supposed to be home already. And talking to a boy, huh? And he's white? Excuse me, look at me while I'm talking to you. I did not raise you like this. And I don't remember exactly word for word what I say, but I'm basically copying whatever my mom says when she's angry with me. The entire time I'm yelling, I can see the guy trying to inch away, and the girl looks so bewildered, like a deer caught in headlights. At this stage, honestly, I'm expecting her to run away. I turn to the guy. And where do you think you're going, huh? He fucking ran for it. Like, I swear, it was like watching a cartoon. The girl was still standing there, and I took off my hood and waved at her. I was still far away and asked if she was all right, in my regular, not very Filipino accent. She was just staring at me. I apologized if I scared her, but I had to get him away because my younger sister would tell me about a creepy guy that corners young girls in the park not far from where we live. Anyway, we hugged and exchanged names and numbers, and now we're basically friends forever. It turns out she didn't live very far and didn't even realize what was happening until she could get away from the creep. I ended up walking her home, and from there, her older brother dropped me off. We called the police when we walked to her place. When we retold the story to our families, at this stage, I'd very correctly assumed that they were philo as well, so communication was easy. They banned us completely from taking the bus past 7. I was reluctant telling my friends this because I knew they'd laugh, but it was such a serious thing. What if I wasn't there? As comical as that sounded, she was really shooken up, but very relieved and grateful. She just kept hugging me and stuff, which is weird. I don't usually hug strangers. Police later stopped a nondescript station wagon about 20 minutes down the main road. In it was a man matching my description. They searched his car and found a few photos of girls in the glove department, and even more on his phone. They were all Asian, specifically Filipino. Months later, after I found out about this, Mom tells me that they actually found photos of my sister and I. It made me shudder. If that creep ever came near my little sister, I would fuck him up. It's also very important to note that the only reason why we got such detailed and updated information was, being the daughter of a surgeon and a lawyer, my parents have connections, and they used them accordingly. If it were different, we would have gotten soothingly vague, at best. I used to be a process server, and I have a lot of interesting stories from that job. I have a couple that really scared me. This is one of those stories that really scared me. This experience helped me confirm that I should always trust my gut. I went to an apartment building to serve someone who lived there. When I was walking up to the building, there was an older man sitting on a bench right by the front door. He had a cane next to him. He was friendly and said hello. I said hello back. And initially my guard was down, so I started to have small talk with him. I attempted to open the front door, but it ended up being locked. I explained to the man that I'm a process server, so I was attempting to give some papers to someone that lives in the building. He started to go on about how he has a daughter my age, and that he wouldn't be comfortable with her being a process server because it wasn't a safe job. He also said it must be extra unsafe for me because I'm so small. I'm 5'2", and at the time I was 110 pounds. I instantly started to feel like something was off. I also thought maybe I was being overdramatic because this is just an older man who has to use a cane. I felt like it was almost rude to be cautious of someone like that. I still had a job to do, and I wasn't going to let this deter me from that. So I asked the man if he was willing to let me into the apartment building. He said he would. It seemed to take him some effort to stand up and walk towards the door with his cane, so I started to feel like I had been overreacting. The man opened the door for me and walked into the building. I was about to go up to the stairs, but the man insisted I take the elevator. I started to feel very uneasy, but for some reason I agreed to take the elevator anyways. I thought the man would leave me alone if I took his suggestion. I started to walk over to the elevator, and he followed me. He continued to talk to me. He even asked about my job and life. I was trying to be vague. When I got onto the elevator, the man also got onto the elevator. At this point, I froze because I didn't understand why he had followed me. The man was standing closer to the back wall of the elevator, and I was standing closer to the door. I didn't want to make eye contact with him in that enclosed space alone, but I was watching him in the reflection of the shiny metal elevator door. I asked him why he got on the elevator with me, and he said that he was watching out from me. When the man said this, I could clearly see that his head was facing me, and it moved down, staring at the floor where my feet were, and then moved up slowly like he was looking at my body from bottom to top. I started to feel claustrophobic and that I needed to get off the elevator now. The elevator door opened, and I practically jumped out. I told the man that he needed to stay there because I wanted to respect the privacy of the person that I was serving papers to. Then I told the man to have a nice day because I felt like that's what I needed to say at the time to end the conversation without him trying to continue the conversation. The man just nodded at me. I get off the elevator and begin walking down the hallway looking for the right apartment number that's listed on the documents that are in my hands. I continue walking, and I feel the sensation that I'm being watched, but I don't turn around because I'm too afraid that I'll see the man standing there. I end up having to walk around the corner and further down the hallway. The feeling of being watched goes away, and I know it's because there's now a wall between me and whoever's eyes I could feel were watching my back. I get to the right apartment and knock on the door. There's no answer. I knock again, but this time much louder. Then I wait about 30 seconds and give the door 4 sturdy knocks before waiting patiently. I couldn't hear anyone inside the apartment. No TV, no pets, no microwave running. Just nothing. I fully believe the person is not home. I accept defeat. I'm a little annoyed that I went through all this just to arrive at the person's apartments, but they aren't even home. I start to walk back the way I came from. I turn around the corner of the hallway, and what comes into view makes my stomach sink. The man is standing there, one hand on his cane, and one hand hovering in front of the elevator button. I keep walking while a bunch of different thoughts are running through my head. When I start to approach the elevator, the man asks, "How'd it go?" I answer simply, "They weren't home." The man says, "I've been waiting for you here." There was something about how the man said this. I knew that I shouldn't go on the elevator with this man again. I basically did a drive-by and started to fast walk past him. I told him, "Have a nice day. I'm in a hurry." I didn't wait for him to reply and continued to move quickly past the elevator and towards the staircase. Once I reached the stairs, I'm not sure why, but I started running down them. Once I got down one case of stairs, I heard a loud, "Wait!" I looked back once, and I could see the man up on top of the staircase, carrying his cane, and he began to run down the stairs after me. He wasn't using his cane at all to descend down the stairs, and he was moving way faster than he had previously. I turned away and ran as fast as I could down the stairs without falling down. I started to jump down 2 stairs at a time. I knew that he was close behind me because I could hear his loud feet as he was running down behind me. I reached the bottom of the stairs and almost ran into another resident of the building. I apologized and then felt panic when I realized the man was probably right behind me. I looked behind me, and the man was using his cane again to get down the last few steps. I looked back at the other building residents, and they had a puzzled look on their face. I mumbled, "Have a nice day," and booked it out of the apartment building and straight to my car. I didn't check to see if the man was following me, but something in my gut told me that the other resident being present had helped me. When I reached my car, I practically jumped into it. I slammed my car door and hit lock right away. I started my car and pulled out of the lot quickly. The parking lot required me to drive past the front door of the apartment building. I look over to see if there was any sign of that man, and there he was. He had stepped outside the front door and was standing there, leaning on his cane and smiling at me, driving by. He then gave me a slow wave. I don't know why, but I gave a tight-lipped smile. I still felt like I had to be nice, even though something obviously really messed up had just happened. But at least I was in my locked car, driving away, and he had no way of catching up to me. Hi, friends. Thanks so much for hanging out with me tonight. I hope you enjoyed these stories. If you like this video, please don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe if you'd like to hear more from me. Thank you so much for being here. I hope you have a wonderful night. Please take care of yourself, and sweet dreams.